Good afternoon. I'm live from protests against proposed bill of hate speech law in Scotland, Edinburgh. I'm just tuning in.
To dear friend of all of us, please welcome the Glasgow Cabbies.
This is absolutely fantastic to see so many of you here today. Just to read. I'm going to read a speech for the very first time from my phone today, which is maybe which I will get to look around a lot of places as I speak to you. So basically it's hello ladies and gentlemen, if we're allowed to say that. In a crazy world we now live in, where people are so easily offended, it's frightening. And a lot of these fruitcake people come from various groups and some political parties. I hope you've all had a lovely Easter. I'd firstly like to say a huge thanks to everyone who has made the effort to come along to Holyrood today. It's fabulous to see so many of you on this unusual April Fool's Day. Can anybody tell me, did J.K. Rowling come along? I'd also like to say a special thanks to Richard Lucas of the Scottish Family Party, who took time out to organise much of this event, even though Richard himself couldn't be here through family commitments. The last time we came together here at Holyrood was to demonstrate against the gender reforms on the 12th of January 2023, just over a year ago. Thankfully, Nicola Sturgeon resigned as First Minister only 5 short weeks after our protests against Scott Gov's GRR bill. We've gathered here on this unique day to demonstrate against Humza Yousaf's shambolic and dangerous new Hate Crime Act. This act has now been forced upon us in this country. I know the irony of this hateful, spiteful hate crime law coming into play on April Fool's Day. You couldn't make this up. On the nation's traditional practical joke day, Humza Useless and friends, along with Police Scotland, enforced such a draconian new law, criminalising free speech in this country. It is absolutely disgraceful. The Scottish Police Federation have stated that this new law is not fit for purpose, as well as telling anyone who'll listen it's a recipe for disaster. Humza, the man who gets away with spitting the word white with venom, is possibly Scotland's most well-known and infamous bigoted racist who wants to end free speech in this country, forcing all of us to live in silence and only to do as we're told under his horrid dictatorship. Just as SNP officials and politicians are currently being investigated for stolen, ring-fenced, indirect public donations and embezzlement, the Scottish Government are still under police investigation on corporate manslaughter charges under health and safety law. This is in relation to COVID deaths in care homes due to the huge scale of blunders made and the alleged attempts to cover them up. And yet here we have Humza stretching police resources to the very limit as they now investigate every single hate crime complaint made in this country. I think we will be making some complaints against Humza Useless. This is not only absolutely insane, it's also unmanageable and unworkable. Thank you all for listening. I'm now going to pass you on to Stuart Waiton, an academic, and Stuart will intrigue you with what he has to say. Stuart Waiton.
Hello, my name is Stuart Waiton. I'm the chairperson of the Scottish Union for Education. Hopefully you'll all end up with one of these leaflets that will tell you all about us and what we're trying to do. We set up a year ago with the strapline, education, not indoctrination.
Yes! Yes!
One of the first things we did was to produce a pamphlet explaining everything that was wrong about the promotion of transgender ideology in schools, and it is being promoted in schools. Subsequently, we found out that nursery schools were also helping to promote this ideology to 3- and 4-year-old children.
My goodness, my goodness.
Will our challenge to the government and the education authorities about their transgender indoctrination now be deemed a hate crime?
Yes, yes.
Perhaps they will now go after J.K. Rowling for her tweets. If they do, we should all shout, "I am J.K. Rowling." Retweet what she has said and challenge them to come after all of us. Not much has been said about how the Hate Crime Act will affect children and young people, but schools egged on by councils like Edinburgh Council, for example, are ramping up their demand that hate be reported to the police. As a result, it is highly likely that children will face a visit from the police for calling each other names. You may have heard of the hate reporting hubs. There are 411 of them across Scotland, places where you're encouraged to report hate. Some of these hate hubs are universities, and so we find ourselves in a position where universities that receive anonymous complaints, like the ones against me for being transphobic apparently, will now be passed to the police. And as a result, hundreds, possibly thousands of staff and students could end up with a record of hate against their name and be blacklisted and face the prospect of being refused employment based on what could be nothing more than a vexatious and utterly false allegation. This is modern progressive Scotland, apparently. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to speak to you today, and I want to thank Steph, the Glasgow cabbie as he's known, for organising this. Steph, I don't think he would mind saying, is an ordinary guy, but an ordinary guy who has done extraordinary things. And I think he's an example for all of us, because it's only when people stand up and take themselves seriously and start to organise themselves that we'll have a chance to get rid of this crap. They are trying to force their values onto the rest of us. They're doing it through law, and they're doing it through the indoctrination of our children. And if we collectively want to do something about it, we've got to organise. Check out the Scottish Union for Education, and hopefully we can all do something extraordinary in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Glasgow cabbie. We will soon be hearing from Rosemary, a profound tweeter and blogger with a female perspective. But first, just let me read a short statement from Richard Lucas, the leader of the Scottish Family Party, who was very sad he couldn't be here today. I am very disappointed not to be among this freedom-loving throng today. If Humza thinks Scotland will just roll over and sacrifice our hard-won freedoms, he's in for a shock. Thanks for raising your voice today. Have a great day, and go to bed knowing that you have struck a blow for freedom! Thank you, Richard. A warm welcome, please, for Rosemary Cameron.
Hello there. Hi. Right. I've been to a few funerals in my time, but I never expected to be going to a funeral for free speech in Scotland, home of the Enlightenment, in Edinburgh, the Athens of the North, outside Holyrood Palace, where John Knox and Mary Queen of Scots had ding-dong arguments about religion without ending up with a non-crime hate incident or whatever it's called against them. I'm really glad to see so many people here. Free speech was obviously well loved. Free speech will be missed. In fact, I am hoping that free speech is not going to stay dead for long. I am hoping for a resurrection for free speech on this Easter Monday. And when that happens, the April Fools will be Humza Yousaf and all the MSPs who supported this hate crime bill. The Scottish Parliament behind me was meant to give Scots a voice. Now they are trying to silence us. Humza Yousaf likes to paint himself as a progressive, but he's taking Scotland back to the dark ages of witch hunts. And just like witch hunts intended to target women, I believe women will be targeted by this pernicious hate crime bill.
Yes, you're right!
Women like me, women who are just going on to social media and maybe retweeting a few things that they like, or sharing something on Facebook. We are going to be targeted. It will be weaponised against us to target us and silence us.
It'll never happen!
Amen! Preach it, sister! Scotland will no longer be able to call itself a democracy when free speech is dead and half the population has been silenced. I was brought up to respect and trust the police and to believe that they would help me if I needed them. Now, I fear a knock at the door because of something I've retweeted. That is sad.
Correct.
That is sad. I don't blame the police. I blame the SNP for politicising them. I blame Humza Yousaf. I blame Humza Yousaf for eroding our trust in the police and turning them into the thought police. I also blame Humza for creating division in Scottish society.
Without a
This
doubt.
bill will set children against children, as we've already heard. Children against parents, friends against friends, colleagues against colleagues, with this Clype's charter of Humza's. We're not even safe from this horrible bill in our own homes. Although I tell you, if I invite somebody for dinner and then they dob me into the police, they'll not be getting another invite. But this is not my Scotland, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the Scotland I recognise. It's not the Scotland I grew up in. It's not the Scotland I want to see going forward. I am not prepared to have anyone tell me what I can and cannot say.
Yes.
It's sad that I've had to do this in a way, but I have joined the Free Speech Union. And I would encourage you to do the same, because there's strength in numbers. Together we will resist this hateful, divisive attack on our rights. Humza's hate crime bill needs to get in the bin.
Thank God for a real woman, eh? What is a woman? It's an adult female, isn't it? But they all struggle to answer that question. Well, I think we've just seen a real woman, haven't we? Hey. She's got a womb. A woman kitchen. Hey, that's what we like. Here, our next speaker. I'm proud to tell you he's my friend, but also a colleague, is the chairman of the Scottish Family Party. A warm welcome to Leo Linehan.
Hello everyone. You know, it wasn't just the SNP. You've got the Greens, the Liberal Democrats,
Yes.
the Labour. They all voted for this. They all voted for it. I think we need a song. Why, oh, why, Humza? Why, oh, why, Humza? Why, oh, why, Humza? Go on with that song in your heart. Why, oh, why? You know, one of the great things we have in Scotland, though, is the regional lists. And it's put the Greens into the Parliament time and time again with a very small percentage of the vote. They've never won a constituency, but now they've got that influence in the Parliament. We need parties in the Parliament who are going to come into the Parliament and repeal this legislation.
Yes.
We have, unfortunately, many people They go out and they vote for the same party time and time again, or they like their local candidate. But that local candidate is supporting a party that brings in hate crime laws. That's what's happening.
The Lib Dems in particular.
Kate Forbes remains in the SNP, but presents herself as conservative. It's not acceptable. You have the opportunity to vote in the future for new parties, one of which is the Scottish Family Party. So I urge you to look closely at your alternatives. Don't just do the same thing again and then complain later on about things like the hate crime bill. It beats the Greeks. Yes, indeed. So, why oh why? Why oh why, Humza? Well, it's to serve his own interest. It's to serve division in Scotland. That's what it serves. We won't have that. We want our children to be educated in fact and in truth, not in lies. Thanks for your support today. Thanks for supporting us.
We've got a general election coming up. No prizes for who's going to get an absolute stuffing in the general election. This government's coming down. It's coming down in instalments, unfortunately. We're going to have to wait for the Scottish Parliament to meet for an election the year after. But it's being dealt with. And judging by this turnout and your response, this is just the beginning of the downfall. I'm looking forward to hearing from a man called John Watt. Do we have John Watt here? Or am I going to say, what on earth? He's not here. So I'm looking for a David Scott. David Scott, who's going to step up. A warm welcome for David.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
We're gathered here to mourn the passing of freedom in our land. We cannot know how the new hate crime bill will be applied, nor can we know exactly who will be targeted first, for that is the way of the total state. Pastor Martin Niemöller knew this when he wrote the poem First They Came For. The UK Supreme Court, when striking down another SNP attack on liberty, their creepy Orwellian child-watching scheme named person, also knew this, for they said the first thing that a totalitarian regime tries to do is to get at the children, to distance them from the subversive varied influence of their families and indoctrinate them in their rulers' view of the world. So who will our politicised police and institutionally corrupt Crown Office come after first? It could be any of us.
Yes.
It could be a man who might call a politician a name. It could be a children's author who might call a biological male a man. It could be the owner of a nursery school who refuses a place for the child of the politically powerful. That's the thing with the fascist system. You never know who will be the target, so everyone feels the fear, and many become informers. In times characterised by wisdom, the law was a simple thing. It could reside in the human heart and can be expressed in a few words. Love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and all thy soul and all thy might, and love your neighbour as yourself. But Humza's new law is mysterious, it's unknowable, it's unpredictable. It will be used to indoctrinate our people into our rulers' view of the world. And when our rulers talk grandiloquently of their values, remember this means the resentful, narrow, materialistic and bitter worldview, the ideology that they demand that we swear fealty to. And why do they do this? Because they hate our nation. Because a nation is like a family. It is a strength to encompass differences. It understands patience and love and loyalty and duty. It inspires courage and it grants dignity. It does not do this by means of imposing uniformity, nor by controlling thought or manipulating emotions or generating fear. Rather, it inspires a voluntary and loving commitment of each individual man and woman. Humza cannot inspire. Instead, he imposes, he coerces, he bullies, he threatens. And that is what the hate crime bill is, a means of coercion, a means of silencing dissent using the police. The bill exists because its authors' ideas are corrupt and they seek darkness to cover their evil. The truth is to be criminalised. Honesty is to be outlawed and thought is to be suppressed. Ladies and gentlemen, our law has fallen into the long sleep. Let not our hearts do likewise. Let us resist.
We will.
We can do this in many simple ways. We can never miss an opportunity to tell the truth. We can always and everywhere reject lies. We can decide not to live in fear, and we can love one another. If we do this, we can yet make the evil represented by this pernicious law irrelevant. But the simple step of choosing a better law of our own free will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to take every opportunity, haven't we, to let them know where we stand. We're not just 1 or 2, are we? We're not even just 1 or 200. Goodness me, this is a wonderful crowd. And may our voice always be loud and clear. We're not lying down to this. We're not accepting this. Here's something I want to share with you before I get a dear friend of mine, Gareth, and the Deputy Chairman of the Scottish Family Party, to address us for a few moments. We have the truth on our side. And the good book says this: if you've got the truth will set you free. Hallelujah. A warm welcome to Gareth as he steps forward to speak loud and clear.
Thank you very much. As you might have noticed, Richard isn't here at the moment, the leader of the Scottish Family Party. He's out doing what the Scottish Family Party would have you do most, and that's spend time with family. And that's where we should be, spending time with family. But no, we are here demonstrating against this Hate Crime Act. And I think it's not because we want to, it's because we absolutely have to.
Yes.
The Scottish Family Party. The Scottish Family Party. Hey, sorry. Hello! It's much louder. Right. So the Scottish Family Party, for us, one of the key things is family. And we think that this act is actually not supporting any families. It's not supporting you. It's not supporting anyone who's actually going to be used by it. Who it is supporting is going to be these minorities who are actually going to be the radicals and the extremists. They're going to use this as a weapon against the average, everyday person. The yous and the me's. Those who are interested in protecting our families and our children.
We won't let them. We won't let them.
We won't let them. And so when we see the Scottish Family Party, we say, when we see Richard Lucas has already had one of these against him. He's had it against him just because of his view of family, and that's the same view that this entire society was built on. It's the view that the ideal for a child is to have a mum and a dad, and he's already had a hate incident recorded by the police. And the problem is, the police didn't ask what his opinion was. They didn't ask for his version of the statement. They asked one person's view. And that's the problem we have. There's no appeal. There is simply one person's view. And it's not going to be your view. It's going to be the view of the person who's going to be the radical or the extremist used against you. That is the only view that counts. You see, the SNP, they are not an extremist political party. This is an extremist political policy. And there are more coming. If you think there's only one, they are just warming up. So I tell you now, that this extreme political party, if you're thinking you're going to get independence, it will not be through the SNP. It will be through another party, not through an extreme party. And so I can tell you now that I have one thing to say. Mene, mene, tekel upharsin. The kingdom is divided and shall not stand. I leave with this closing comment. The SNP days are numbered. Thank you very much.
What on earth? We found John Watt. How about that? Let's hear what John has to say, and let's hear him speak the truth and be set free.
What's happening in Scotland? How many here know my story? How many here know about my story in regards to what happened to me and the people of Scotland? My name is John Watt, and I'm one of the vaccine injured in this country. And this government have failed myself and the people of this country. The people of Scotland that took that vaccine and have been left to rot. So who do we rely on? I've been in that building. I've been kicked out, had a 6-month ban. I went face to face with Rishi Sunak. Did I hear anything? Nothing. This government is failing every single one of us. We all have a duty of care to look after Scotland and the people of Scotland. That man there, Humza Useless, is failing us. The mainstream media are failing us. And Police Scotland are failing us. The longer and longer as this goes on, I'm beginning to think I need to become a politician. Because all you need is a good heart and a moral compass. Fuck your hate speech. This is our flag. This is our saltire. William Wallace is ashamed right now. So Scotland, I'm telling every single one of you, do not be afraid. Do never back down. Because that's not what Scotland's all about. Every single one of you, bring the fucking noise.
As a pastor of a Christian church, let's just bring the noise, eh? Let's just bring the any children here. We apologise, but you feel the passion, don't you? It gets to you, doesn't it? It's infectious. Wow! Now I have another young lady to listen to, and I want you to give a warm welcome to Penny Lewis.
I'm a member of the Free Speech Union. I'm a member of Academics for Academic Freedom, and I'm a member of the Scottish Union for Education. I'm probably a member of other organisations as well. I urge everyone here today to link up with the organisations that are here to think about how we can change the culture in Scotland today. There's no doubt that the Hate Crime Act is a spectacular attack on our liberties. It comes on the back of a whole series of really bad laws, restrictions on what parents can do in the home, the Named Person Act, laws and policies to stop us travelling into cities, and a whole range of other ridiculous policies that involve telling us what we should think and what we should say. On the positive side, it's great to see so many people here today. It's great to come to an event which is a little scary because you don't know quite how it's going to come out, and to find that you're surrounded by people that feel the same way that you do.
Yes.
It's good. It's a bit like going to the movies, but you can talk to the people beside you. You can get that sense that you're not a stranger in your own country. And I'm feeling this thing here today, despite the rain and despite the cold, and it's quite an unfamiliar thing. But you know what it is? It is freedom. This is freedom. This is democracy in action. You can say what you want here, and we need to practice the act of saying what we want and saying what we think. I'm here because I work at a university. Universities are places where you expect a freedom of expression and of conscience, but it's not happening. I teach in Dundee and I teach in China. In China, they have cameras in the classrooms, and there are certain issues which you must never talk about. In Scotland, it's almost the same conditions. We don't have cameras in the classrooms, but in fact we have something worse. We have a complacency. We have an idea that somehow we still live in a democracy. We don't recognise the authoritarianism that has come upon us in a different guise. The principal from my university wrote 2 messages to staff and students last week before this bill came into act. He said, "Let me be clear, we will not tolerate hate crimes." He threatened his staff and his students without telling us what constituted a hate crime. And that's part of the problem. We think that this law will stop politics and will stop public debate. It won't just do that. It will stop everybody feeling that they're free to talk to people in their fitness classes, in their workplaces, in the pub, and in every other environment, because potentially you could be criminalised for what you say. It doesn't need to be malicious or hateful. It just needs to have offended somebody else.
And easily
We could call it the Fit to Peak Law, definitely. I think it's a hateful piece of legislation. It's hateful in the genuine sense, not in the sense that we going around our business expressing our opinions are hateful, but that it's a hateful attitude towards ordinary people. And it's a hateful attitude towards the possibility of public discussion. I'm old enough to remember a time when people didn't look at everyone outside their family or their church as a stranger, when people had a spontaneous sense of solidarity with those that lived around us and those that shared our values. We assumed that people were innocent until they were proved guilty, and we had a completely different attitude towards our peers, even when we didn't agree with them. Government has encouraged us to look at each other with suspicion, and this legislation is the icing on the cake in this policy that wants us to take sides against each other. It's time for us to start to practice freedom and practice democracy. We've all got a little bit of muscle memory. We remember, those of us that are over 50, what it was like to live in a world where you didn't assume everybody else was a problem. And now we need to exercise that muscle memory. We need to start practicing democracy, speaking, listening, and getting together to say we won't take this.
Thank you, Kenny. Let's make a promise to each other today. Are we prepared to go to jail for this? If you're not in jail with me, I want you to promise me you'll come and visit me. Let's visit one another. Let's inspire one another. Let's pay the price until the tide turns. Another great speaker for you to listen to for the next few moments. A warm welcome for Craig Houston, a new sensation on YouTube. A fantastic researcher. And he has lots of interesting analysis of the Scottish government.
Hello. First of all, just thank the Glasgow Cabby, not only for organising this, but asking me to come along and speak to you today. So we're here because we hate. What is hate? Hate is an emotion, and although we can influence our own emotions, they're most often created by the actions of others. So now we have emotion laws. Having a society of zero hate is noble, but impractical. Society must allow some hate. The pretense that we can eradicate hate from society would require us not to hate someone who steals from us, abuses us, or kills our own. Although this may be possible for the most pious among us, it's not practical for all. Therefore, society must decide when hate is justifiable and when it is not. This magical line cannot be forced upon society by a small number in this building. Society must set the benchmark, not some who are sitting in power with around as little as 1,000 votes in this building. The Scottish public are not stupid. We are capable of knowing right from wrong. We are capable of drawing our own morals. We are capable of setting our society's moral compass. By creating these laws, we have not only put in danger us all of breaking the law by thought or emotion, but they've also removed society from moulding society. For over 500 years, the people of Scotland coped quite well in forming common law. We did not need the people in this building.
We still don't need them.
We did not need the people in this building to build a system of law that's respected and replicated the world over. Their job is to serve us. We are not to be browbeaten by them. We are not their subjects. They are our servants. They must believe, they must stop acting, like the single state they believe they are. After 17 years of power, your time is up. If people in this building had their way, we would also be subjected to the Named Person Act and the Gender Recognition Bill. Our children would not be ours, and our children would not be safe. The progressive laws they believe they have attempted to push through Parliament are not progressive, they are regressive. The desire to protect the interests of those perceived to be persecuted and minorities is righteous. But when they seek to prosecute and quash the majority and totally ignore women, then that is not how society is improved. This is how society is divided. We've seen 17 years of division, we've seen 17 years of ruining Scotland, and in 17 years we have seen enough. Enough is enough. I call on all Scots, not just unionists but like me, but all of us, to unite in a fight to remove this excuse of a party from both our parliaments, to rid Scotland of those who have ruined the country for unionists and also ruined the possibility of independence for nationalists. If we can all bend our political differences for one Westminster election and one Holyrood election by tactically voting, we can not only rid Scotland of the SNP, but we could render this morally bankrupt party financially bankrupt. We have the power to remove them, and we actually have the power to destroy them. Do not be shy of this aim of destroying them. For that, my friend, would give Scotland real freedom. Not a Hollywood face-painted unicorn freedom delivered with an Australian accent, but proper grown-up freedom, and a parliament with big boy pants on. We can take the powers we do have and build a better Scotland for us all. Instead of blaming others for their failings and the powers that they don't have, we can then accept responsibility to improve Scotland by embracing the powers we definitely have. For those 17 years, those who have controlled this building and represented us in Westminster have blamed Westminster, they blamed Brexit, they blamed Tories, and they blamed Labour.
They blame women! They blame
Blame the women, aye. I can sort of get that one. The truth, however, Colin Beattie, Mary Black, Ian Blackford, Keith Brown, James Dornan, Stephen Flynn, Patrick Grady, Jamie Hepburn, John Mason, Michael Matheson, Christina McKelvey. There's that many of them, I've lost my way. Gavin Newlands, Anun Kazar, Angus Robertson, Shona Robinson, Tony Shepherd, Alan Smith, John Swinney, Alison Pulis, Peter Wishart, my least favourite too, Nicola Sturgeon. Yusuf. The blame lies squarely with you. Mark Twain once said, we all have the thoughts that should shame the devil. The SNP now want us punished for them, while their acts would shame the government of hell. Enough is enough. If I am to be arrested for hating you, so mote it be. Thank you.
Enough is enough, hey? Proper grown-up government, that's what we want. Well done, Craig, that was fantastic. Well, from one pastor who is causing a stir here and gladly doing it, me, to another pastor who is a prophet for our time. Watch these pastors, by the way, they're trouble. Pastor Arthur O'Malley, a warm welcome for the pastor of Eastgate Church in Elderslie.
Well, hello, it's good to be back here in Edinburgh amongst the people of Scotland. You know, the Bible says evil triumphs when good people do nothing. It's time for us to take a stand, and I'm just grateful for all of you who have taken the time and trouble to come here, that we have recognised that these new hate crime laws that they have brought in today are actually going to be used against us, to suppress us, to stifle us from our conversations, put in fear. You're scared to say anything in case someone might object to it. Had a conversation with a lady on the railway, and she walks there and she says, I don't know how to address people these days. They're having babies now in hospital, and they're saying, instead of saying you've got a boy or a girl, they say, here is your baby, in case someone is offended. What kind of world are we living in? And what kind of Scotland are we being subjected to? I am very privileged to stand here on behalf of the church, and I want to call the church out a little bit today. Many ministers are the dice of the writing is on the wall, and this place should be flooded with ministers and with Christians realising that our free speech is under attack, and the gospel itself is very much being attacked. You know, when John the Baptist came out of the wilderness, his first words were, repent, for the kingdom of God is come. And when Jesus came and started his ministry, he says, repent, for the kingdom of God has come. Now that word repent will become the biggest hate word that this government is going to hunt, because you're not allowed to say to anybody to repent, which means to change your ways. It means to reform your ways. It means become a better person. That's what Jesus came to do, to make the world a better place. Amen. Unfortunately, the world has chosen to reject him. Hence the reason we're seeing all the crime and wickedness and evil today. But we need to take a stand, brethren. And therefore I thank Steph, the Glasgow Cabbie, and the Scottish Family Party for giving an opportunity to ask me to come and to address this. I will start with an apology for the state of the church in Scotland. They once were a strong voice for our people, but their voice now has been dumbed down. They have fallen down. They have not rose up and been the voice they should have been. They've become people pleasers. Should I say government pleasers? Rather than being a God pleaser. This Bible now is one that we used to swear on in courts. We used to swear on it because it was the highest order it could have been achieved. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me, God. But this government has chosen, they're working very carefully to demonise any dissenting voices that may have a different opinion other than the point of view that they have directing us. Words are powerful, brethren. Language is always used to transmit values, laws, cultural norms, including taboos. Language, since it expresses and reinforces culture, influences the personal identity of those living within the culture and creates boundaries and behaviour. This new hate speech law has a ring of moral goodness attached to it. Let's protect the vulnerable, the innocent. We're all for that, and for the multitude of broken people within our societies. But it has a sting in the tail. It will attack anyone who would disagree with their chosen beliefs and ideologies in their desire to protect minorities with the full force of the law. They inadvertently, or shall I say deliberately, attack the majority of law-abiding citizens. This government and the majority of the major parties in Scotland are determined to change the face of Scotland and destroy our cultural heritage that defines us as a people, the Scots! China has been suppressing its people for a long, long time. You just have to see and look at the model of China. They control all things, the media, the police, law and order, social media. They watch their people all the time, and everybody is scared to say anything, or else the police will be at your door. Is this the road that Scotland has chosen? Is this the road that they have been down? In China's case, we know what they're all about, complete control of its citizens. But what about the Scottish government? Are they going down the same road as China? Are they becoming dictators? No more free speech, living under the threat that Big Brother is always going to be watching us. Everything we say or even post or someone else might say. Our very actions and every move is constantly monitored on these screens and walls around our cities and towns and places. I want to finish with a poem, or it might have been a song by Robbie Burns, our national poet. And it's Scots Wahey. I'm going to put my glasses on for this. I'll do my best to try and pronounce it in the Scottish tongue. I'm a bit hoarse. And it was Burns who might have imagined it, what Robert Bruce before the Battle of Bannockburn. Scots Wahey, we Wallace bled. Scots Wan Bruce has often led. Welcome to your gory bed, or to victory. Now's the day, and now's the hour. See the front of battle lower. See approach proud Edward's power. Chains and slavery. Why will you be a traitor knave? Why can fill a coward's grave? Why say base as be a slave? Let him turn and flee. Why for Scotland's king and law? Freedom's sword will strongly draw. Free man stand and free man fall. let him follow me. By oppression's woes and pains, by your sons in serval chains, we will drain our dearest veins, but they shall be free. Lay the proud usurper low, tyrants fall in every foe, liberty is in every blow. Let us do or die. Scotland men, let us rise up and defend our children, defend our women, defend our families. We are the Scottish people. Let us rise up and defend our culture. Scotland, the brave. God bless you all.
We've got 2 more speeches for you. But I want to ask you a question before we invite Niall to address us. Niall Fraser. Is this North Korea? Let me hear that again. Is this North Korea? No! Is this China? No! Is this Afghanistan? No! Is this Russia? No! This is Scotland! And it's a free Scotland! A free Scotland! That's what makes us different. This is what's going to shine through in the end. Warm welcome to another dear friend of mine, Niall Fraser. He's come to warm your hearts up.
Hello, can you hear me, everyone? Yes. Hello and welcome to the funeral for free speech, guys. We're minus a coffin though. It broke down on the way here on the M8. So there's a hearse halfway along the M8 at Harhill looking for the AA. So thanks for coming, it really does mean the world to me, guys. It really does. It shows me that righteousness isn't quite dead in Scotland. And before we properly start, I just wanted to say that I didn't bring you this. The Glasgow Cabby didn't bring you this. The Scottish Family Party didn't bring you this. The people who work in that building behind us brought us this. Everyone here, I think, understands the importance of a day like this. A moment in time, never to come again. A brief second where we all collectively share the feeling of loss. We're all shouldering the pain in unison. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, what do you feel? Grief? Pain? Despair? Well, I'll tell you what I'm feeling. It's betrayal. Betrayed by a government that's supposed to have our best interests at heart. Betrayed by a government that's supposed to be looking out for us. If you can believe that. Betrayed by a government that's supposed to be made up of our betters. Every single one of the MSPs that voted for this hate crime legislation are so full of their own self-importance they can't see the forest for the trees. They're trying to lead public policy instead of following the public's mandate. And better yet, they're leading us in completely the wrong direction, folks. We used to have mental asylums here, but now we've closed them down. All the patients have become politicians. And their parliaments have become the loony bins. Some of the folk that work in there, I wouldn't take my eye off them, even if they're in a straitjacket. But it's not all doom and gloom, guys. It's alright. It's not all doom and gloom. With the passing of one thing brings the coming of another, sorry. This death today, this political assassination of free speech, this chainsaw to the legal system has only served to bring us all together here, folks. That's what it's done. Scotland's heroes of old are looking down on us today, filling our hearts with strength to succeed, the strength to overcome this evil Humza Yousaf. If Humza Yousaf thinks that he can just murder free speech and leave its body in the gutter and we won't react, he's got another thing coming. We've reacted in exactly the way we should have done. We've come together over this. It's this unification that spells doom for the SNP and spells doom for these MSPs and their green minions. It's this unification, this coming together that brings a brighter tomorrow, a brighter Scotland. We do not need to live in fear anymore. We do not need to live in the shadows anymore, folks. I will not allow my son to be born in a place where his thoughts and speech are policed. It's never going to happen. And I can see there's some police kicking about. And this one's directed at you. Is this what you signed up for? Am I naive in thinking that the police want to protect their communities? Am I naive in thinking that? No. Do you really want to be Humza's dogs? Sicked on people accused of wrongthink? I don't think so. Folks, for me it all comes down to how we will be remembered. This life is a huge cosmic test and I intend on passing that test. How would you like to be remembered? Everyone here, would you like to be remembered as the righteous soul fighting back against tyranny? Would you like to be remembered as the person who made that difference? The person who turned Scotland back for the brink? How you'd like to be remembered, folks, is entirely up to you. Now, we've got a lot of amazing speakers after, well, I thought I was going to be in the middle of it at the end, but we've got 2 more speakers after me. I'm not going to take too much more of your time. But with this being a funeral, I wanted to give a poem again, and just like Arthur O'Malley, it's for one of the greatest sons in Scotland, Robert Burns. An honest man here lies at rest, as their God with his image blessed, the friend of man, the friend of truth, few hearts like his. We'll start again. I've ruined it already. We'll start again. An honest man here lies at rest, as their God with his image blessed, the friend of man, the friend of truth, the friend of age and guide of youth. Few hearts like his with virtue warmed, few heads with knowledge so informed. If there's another world, he lives in bliss. If there is none, then he made the best of this. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. You have all passed the cosmic test. Everyone here can meet their maker with a smile. Happy in the knowledge that you fought on the side of truth and liberty. You fought on the side of righteousness. Thank you all.
Don't shoot me. I'm going to thank Humza Yousaf. Don't shoot me. Why would I thank him? Because it's because of him we're all here. I've never met hardly any of you. But how heartened am I today that there's a lot more than a few dozen who are prepared to stand up for truth and for liberty. So thank you, Humza. You've poked the bear, and the bear is growling. Hallelujah. Let's get Alan the Miller to speak just before we hear from the Glasgow Cavvy to conclude things here today. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the Glasgow Cavvy, and well done everyone for being here. This is a historic moment. My name's Alan Miller, I'm a co-founder of the Together Association. We have hundreds of thousands of supporters around the country, and we're here to say that we all support this fight for freedom with all of you together. And what we think we should do is go out and win out all our friends and colleagues and neighbours and the people that we work with and have these conversations and get them involved. We should remember that in this cradle of the Enlightenment, this place where people like Donald Robertson, who taught James Madison, who enshrined free speech in the Constitution, who created the very foundation of America with the idea of liberty, free speech and free expression, that these hundreds of years later, we're not going to allow the people in there to suffocate it and squash it out. Now my accent might be a bit different, but I stand shoulder to shoulder with everyone here. You have hundreds of thousands of supporters. And I'm going to keep it short, but just know that we're stronger together. Let's stand together and take back democracy together. What are we going to do, everyone? Thank you very much. Let's stand together, let's beat these people, and let's make Scotland free together.
Do not think for a moment this is going to be an easy fight. Do not think for a moment that this is going to be a walk in the park. This is going to be a sore one. But we're prepared to pay the price. And I want this crowd here to know that there's someone else here who's going to conclude things. The Glasgow Cabbie, who's paid a price for standing up. And we want to encourage him and thank him for organising this today. Thank you, Glasgow Cabbie. Another warm welcome, in conclusion, to the Glasgow Cabbie.
Listen, thanks a lot, and thanks very much to all of our speakers here. You've been wonderful. There's been quite a bit of planning in this, and there's a lot to be learned here today. We're delighted with the turnout. For all the weather has been miserable. You stand here with both your salt tyres, which I love. They do not belong to the SNP, they belong to Scotland. I also love to see that Union flag. And seeing there's been a bit of poetry here today, I'm going to recite a wee poem that I wrote about Nicola Sturgeon when she resigned only 5 weeks after our gender reforms demonstration here at Holyrood. And it goes like this. It's titled after a fish, the Royal Sturgeon. We fin-tailed after sturgeon like a great white shark in haste, a destroyer of our nation, but we had no time to waste. With her dreams of separation, or the ending words she spoke, kids' books will show in history how her dreams blew up in smoke. We celebrate the Union, for together we are strong. When gnats cry themselves to sleep at night, we'll sing joyfully in song. The Union flag is flying, in Great Britain we shall pray, as Scots in Saltire, ski and do, keep us Nazi cult at bay. We can see the country rising, look above, God knows it's true. Standing tall to save our children, the Union Jack, red, white and blue. Thanks once again to all of you. I know an awful lot of you have travelled big distances to be here from the top of Scotland to away past Greenock and even some of the Isles. It's marvellous that you should commit yourselves to a day like this, but it's extremely important, and it's also shows an awful lot of people have digs at me on social media about this building behind us being empty today. This is not empty out here, and it was the location that mattered, and it was the fact that these laws are being enforced on this day, April Fool's Day. Like I said earlier, you just couldn't make it up. Anybody at all that collected a banner from me, if you don't mind, Charlene there is going to take them from you, and we're going to place them behind here. They're not my banners, and I'm delighted. Thanks once again to each and every individual that's come along here, all at the back, all at the front, and just everyone. Absolutely amazing turnout. Thank you.
Just leaves me to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Any banners that you want displayed, we're going to take a photo. All banners behind me, and then those with cameras can take a picture from in front of me. You want your banner displayed, flags, you name it, you can get behind me, and we'll have a crazy group photo. I'll leave you with one Bible verse. If God be for us, who can be against us?
The only thing, I know that the Silver Fox is saying this as well today, tactically, but if you're going to Labour, or even the Conservative Party, you're still going for the same people that brought in this bill that as well. I don't see a political change in the Labour Party from the SNP because they're both infamous run, both left wing. Yeah, but there are other parties there that talking about the background. Oh yeah, I understand. That's legitimate. I'll be going for the one. I didn't really see the going to any same. I just like to say this in the I don't see anything.
could come under the scrutiny of Police Scotland now with this new Hate and Crime Act. Tell us why you're here today, first of all.
Well, I'm here. Whoa!
Loads of flags here.
I'm a gay man, and one thing that really concerns me is that gay men and lesbians won't even be able to talk about themselves in very plain, neutral, objective language without possibly committing a hate crime.
Are you the
So if I say a gay man is a male homosexual, and lesbians can't have penises, and gay men don't have vaginas, that could be construed as a hate crime.
So this whole idea of stirring up hate, right? I mean, anyone can decide if anything, you can just come and ask questions or say things. What do you think? Are you encouraged by today?
Well, especially when it's up here, you know, because it's Scottish and it's all like, you know, they're bringing all that. It's been really good to see different groups coming together, and groups that might on other subjects completely disagree with each other. But when it comes to this, it's about, you know, if we can show that when it comes to certain subjects, yes, we do stand together. I mean, this whole, the way this legislation has been written is ridiculous. Like, I can be reported for the content that I've created, or that I am creating, if somebody sees it in Scotland. I'm going to have to be in Scotland to create it, right? And I'm staying somewhere in like an area, a bed and breakfast, and the person I'm staying with, I think might have some slightly different views on the whole sex and gender thing from me. So even if I said to her, lesbians don't have penises, she could go, oh, hello, Police Scotland, anonymous, yeah, all right, I'd like to report this dude for simply speaking about what a homosexual is and isn't. So
it's exactly what George Orwell talked about, and earlier Stuart
if
Waiton.
he was around today, George Orwell, he'd be like, even he could not have imagined this.
And you know, the whole idea that children are going to be persecuted, that there are reports on everyone, it's like a Stasi situation.
12-year-olds, right?
Well, I'm encouraged like you about, you know, being on a panel with people, being on the platform where people were pastors, people that were religious, secular, unionists and Republicans, right together, people with all different views on a range of things, but the fundamental principle that if we don't have free speech and freedom of expression, we don't have any of the other freedoms. So thank you for your work, man. We'll support you in that, right? Like with Voltaire, we believe in the right and we'll die for the right for someone to say something that's offensive to us.
Yeah.
We don't agree with, because that's the only way that we can convince anyone of anything and have true freedom.
The rest is just an authoritarian dystopian nightmare.